All right, in this last section, we're going to talk a little bit about how your skeleton changes as you age. So, take a look at these cross sections of bone. The outside would be compact, the inside is spongy, and the bone marrow. Your bones get thicker as you grow. Now, this only happens up until a certain age. So, just before age 30, both men and women kind of reach a peak in their bone mass, meaning their bones are not going to get any thicker, they're not going to get any stronger, and after that point, it's kind of downhill. So we expect both men and women to lose a lot of bone mass as they age. Totally normal. However, there's a certain point at which a person has lost so much bone mass, their bones are so thin or brittle that they're likely to break or fracture. And that's the problem in osteoporosis. So if you take a look at the dotted line on this graph, we're looking here at age, going from 0 to 100 years old versus the bone mass, or how big are your bones. After age 40, we have a fracture threshold. What this means is that if you are above this threshold, if your bones are more massive, bigger than this, you're probably fine. Like, you're not going to have a fracture, you're not at high risk of osteoporosis. However, if you fall below this fracture threshold, so anywhere in here, you are at a very high risk of fracture. What you're going to be doing in the next couple slides is actually plotting points on this graph, determining is that a man or a woman, and then is that person above the fracture threshold, meaning their bones are okay, probably not going to have a break, or are they below? Let's do number one together just to get you started. So it says a 64-year-old patient of Dr. 2 has a calcium mass of 863. So the data points, again, X is age, and then here's our Y point. Plot these coordinates on the graph. Is it above or below the fracture threshold? And then is this a male or a female? So if we take a look at this slide, this yellow point, I've actually plotted this one for you. So we went 64, and then 863 is right around here. Not going to be perfect, but you get the idea. So this patient is above the fracture threshold, right? We can also guess that they are probably a male based on the proximity to kind of the male stripe. So this is like all males on average. We can't say with 100% certainty this isn't just like a really, really strong woman, but most of these points as you plot them are going to fall within a stripe. So you could answer number one, incomplete sentences, but something like above the fracture threshold, male. Now, on the following slides, you actually have quite a few, 14 to be exact, patients to plot. So each of these, you're going to read the coordinates, drag and drop the point to the appropriate spot on the graph, and then you are going to underline if the patient is above or below the fracture threshold and if they're male or female. So number one, I already did for you. It's right here, men. So I would underline the M, and then that patient is just below that dotted line. So I would also underline the B. Okay, so you're going to do that same thing for the next 13 patients. And then there are a couple questions for you to answer at the end. At the very end, there's an optional AD section. So if you would like to read this short New York Times article about the bone health of America and do a little written reflection, that's an option. If you have any questions at all about this lesson, feel free to send me a remind text. I am available via text message. I'm just in a training, so happy to answer your questions. Hope you guys have a great day. Remember to turn this in by Wednesday at midnight. See you soon.